Welcome to the African Inspirational Podcast, and this is a place where we transform Africa. And welcome to the show. Today I have an interesting guest, and we're gonna tap in more into somatic knowledge, more into understanding who you are as an African individual, more into understanding your purpose on a deeper level, unlocking higher states of consciousness. Because in this platform, we believe in that. We believe in elevating the levels of your consciousness as a Black individual. So welcome to the show. And my guest, I'll allow her to introduce herself. The floor is yours, ma'am.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. Okay, so my name is Tlotliso. On my socials, I go by Sodashi. That's, I guess, my stage name, for lack of a better word. But yeah, and what I am is just more than anything, a individual that is a soul having a human experience. I have a lot of passion in psychology, in the mind-body awareness, the mind-body connection, somatics, as you mentioned, embodiment. And I'm a person that just is a seeker of knowledge. I love mixing both information about the metaphysics, the spiritual, mixing it into the physical, because we are all of it. It is all oneness. And I think a lot of the world separates this knowledge. We separate the mind from the body. We separate the soul from the body and the mind. And at the end of the day, because it lives in one body, it is just one thing. And I aim with the information that I have a blog that I write. I have a podcast as well that is in the making. And I just aim to just bring all this information together, educate, empower, and inform people to let them know that they are whole, and spreading the language and the knowledge and the wisdom of wholeness, eternal wholeness. And that's me.
Incredible stuff.
Thank you.
Let's dive right into it, right? What does knowledge mean to you? What is knowledge?
Knowledge is knowing. Knowledge is gnosis. Knowledge is. I had a old mentor that used to say, it's knowing the ledge. It's knowing how far you are, the spaces in between one step and the other. It is simply just, I guess, being able to process information and being able to move from a state of like elusiveness to a state of determination, to be determined about something and to be sure and grounded in information, in what it is that you learn and what is around us. That's knowledge to me.
So what is somatics?
So somatics, embodiment, soma actually is a Greek word meaning body. Soma is used in many different aspects of life. It is also used in understanding our body internally. It's part of our body wisdom. But more than anything, the knowledge of somatics is really about understanding body awareness and the mind-body connection. So what somatics introduces and embodiment, what they both introduce is the idea that you are not isolated to just the top part of your head. You are way more than that. You are also your body. Your body holds a lot of wisdom. Your body holds a lot of what we feel, what we think. It all translates to the body. It all translates to our day-to-day, the true manifestations of, who we are. It's not just communicated from just our head. As people who prioritize cognitive abilities and thinking, we might perceive our existence to be purely about what is it that you think, what is it that is happening in your brain. And as much as our brain is such a powerful thing, it is also not everything that we are. We are also a body. We also translate all the information. When we say, I feel angry, do you feel the anger in your brain only? No. Anger is felt in the way that you breathe. Anger happens in your heartbeat rising. Anger happens into your face or the rest of your body feeling hot. It is a physical expression. Therefore, we are physical beings as well. And to tap into the information and the wisdom that our body is always communicating, while also tapping into the information and the wisdom that our brain is communicating, we get to understand ourselves whole spectrum. And that's the beauty of somatics. It's not just body only, it's not just mind only, it's both.
That's quite interesting, right? Because I think individuals, we live in an unconscious state for most of the time,
Yes.
right? And when I mean unconscious, I don't mean that people are literally not breathing or people are like dead or in a coma, but unconscious in the sense of we are not present in reality. And there's a lot of reasons why this lack of presence is happening due to various aspects, like individuals are not cognizant of the fact that they are not their own thoughts. So individuals start identifying with their own thoughts. And as they identify with their thoughts, they create now this ego personality. And this ego personality consumes the individual. Now the individual has all these countless thoughts that are generated by the ego personality, and the ego cannot see itself beyond itself.
Oh, I love that.
So now
I love that.
It's like now the individual now is trapped in a perpetual state of self, or the perpetual state of that particular ego, and it's now hampering their overall awareness of reality, of space and time, of the experiences and the people around them. So I love what you just touched on. And what motivated you to dive in this journey of understanding this deep knowledge?
Jeez. I think I've always been into understanding the brain. I'm a psychology major. I graduated with a degree in both philosophy and psychology, a Bachelor of Arts. And I loved learning about this. It's just formed a part of my life, and finding out about the human experience and the brain and how we all function and work. And from that, I started to dig deep, listen to podcasts, read books. And as I started to do that, I came across this knowledge of like mind-body connection of, okay, there is something about our body that holds quite a lot of information. And I came across I'm not sure if anybody's familiar with these names, but the Deb Danas of the world, the Stephen Porges of the world. These are people who speak about somatic experiencing and somatics. And they speak about embodiment. And there is a fantastic piece of work that I found, which is called the polyvagal theory, which speaks to one of our cranial nerves, our main cranial nerves, which is the longest one, which is the vagus nerve. The word vagus means wanderer. I think it's in late Latin, if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong with that. But essentially, it is the one nerve that connects from our cranium all the way down into our gut. So it is part of our parasympathetic nervous system. And this nerve helps us turn from our more sympathetic, which is our fight or flight responses, and stimulating this nerve helps us get back into our parasympathetic understanding. And what our parasympathetic understanding is, or a parasympathetic state, is a state of what they call rest and digest, which is the state of like just simply being relaxed, which is the state that you get into when you're chilling, when you're vibing. Whereas our sympathetic nervous system is what we get into when we're like doing things, we're fighting, we're scared, we're in fear, we're activated, we're anxious. It's more activated state. So yeah, when I started to find out about stuff like that, I was so interested. And when I started to understand how trauma functions and how a lot of the time we think about our trauma, right? We keep our trauma up here. It's just an experience. So we go to talk therapy, right? Nothing wrong with talk therapy, but we just talk about our trauma. We talk and we talk and we talk and we talk, and we spent years with psychiatrists or psychologists, and we talk about our traumas and we talk about how it makes us feel, and we can unpack and unpack and unpack. But one thing that I got to find out in this work is that trauma doesn't just live in our brain, it lives in our bodies. And oftentimes when we don't get to access that trauma that lives in our bodies, that is playing out in our bodies, it prohibits us from fully healing our trauma. It prohibits us from fully understanding the scope of how the things that we go through affect us. So that is how I got to learn about it. And it's helped me as a person blossom. It's helped me to get to know a lot about myself deeper than just my thoughts or just what I'm thinking. But it's also helped me understand how my body informs my thoughts. As you were saying, sometimes when we're stuck in thoughts, we can't see beyond ourselves. We can't see beyond what we're thinking and what we're believing. But when we can come back into our body, we can ground down into our body, our sensations, what we're feeling. Oh, I'm feeling like I'm breathing a bit too heavy right now. Oh, I feel like my heart is racing. Oh, I feel like I can't feel my feet. My feet go cold. Oh, okay, so my body's talking to me about certain things. My body's talking to me about how I feel about certain things. And when we mix the feeling and the thinking together, we get to understand the full spectrum of our being. And that's why it was important for me to learn, and that's how I got into it.
Have you ever wondered how you wanted to develop your leadership potential? Have you ever wondered how you can maximize your potential and become the best individual for you and your family? You are now in the right space. At the Mloyi Business Leadership Firm, we offer you practical skill sets and practical tools for you to begin your journey of personal development. We have leadership and business coaches who are able to guide you through all the processes and systems you need to optimize your potential. So for more information, go to our social media page at the Mloyi Business Leadership Firm on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and now back to the show. So as we were saying, I love what you touched on in terms of linking the mind and the body. Because when we study manifestations and when we study how people are able to actualize their reality, we see how an elevated emotion with persistent thoughts about that particular thing that you want fast tracks you to create the reality or attract all the necessary situations into your life. So a lot of people are living from a low vibrational state in a sense of they're not aware of the power of their thoughts. So then they are not able then to utilize the mind as the potent tool it is. I mean, the mind is the greatest supercomputer in the world. And utilizing your mind in an organized and focused way with clear intentions, with intentionality, with purpose, it's easier for you to drive your goals and achieve whatever you want in life. So it's important for the audience to understand the mind-body connection, how your reality is essentially created by your thoughts. And it's then important for you then to refine your thoughts, to look at the thoughts that I have, because thoughts create emotions. Emotions create experiences, and those experiences just keep replaying in your mind, and then now it becomes a program. And now that program keeps playing in your mind, producing the same results that you currently have in your life. So if you want to change the results you have right now, it starts by changing your mind, reprogramming your mind, changing your thoughts, entering a new mind, linking it with emotions, right? Because sometimes you think about something, but you don't feel. And remember, the subconscious only registers emotion, doesn't register thoughts. So if you link your thoughts with feelings, then it registers into your subconscious mind. When it gets into the subconscious mind, it's then able then to become a program in your mind. Because your mind is run by a subconscious. 95% of your thoughts come from your subconscious. Only like 10 to 5% is actually conscious thoughts. So the subconscious is basically running our lives. And if we want to change our lives, we need to change the subconscious.
Yeah.
And for us to change the subconscious, it's about understanding, okay, how do I link my thoughts with elevated emotions? How if you want to experience a certain thing, think about that, add the emotion. Like visualization is such an important skill set. Like you have to visualize yourself getting whatever you want, feeling it. That reshapes and programs your mind. So what's your understanding of manifestation?
Well, I think you mentioned something that was very important that a lot of people don't really take into account, which is the subconscious mind, which you said makes up majority of our thoughts. And a lot of people in the space of the somatics and embodiment and understanding the way that our body functions actually argue that the subconscious mind is the body. And if you sit down and think about it and take a second, when we speak about the subconscious mind, we're talking about the unconscious mind, as in meaning the mind that you cannot always access consciously. And think about how many processes within our body are like that. Do you tell your body to breathe? No, it does that by itself.
Automatically, yeah.
Do you tell your body to blink? No, it does that
For
by
your heart
itself.
to beat?
Do you tell your heart to beat? Do you tell your digestive system to work? Do you tell yourself that you need to pee? That, okay, hey, body, kidneys, hey, it's time for you to take the water that you have in there and take it down and take it down the urethra. No, you don't. In fact, most of the time you don't even have access, cognitive access to those aspects of ourselves. So it is argued that actually this part of ourselves is the unconscious, is the subconscious. And within our body lives these programs, these things that run our lives. And that's why it's important to access what the body is telling you. Because like you said, manifestation comes from feeling. Mixing emotion with feeling. They often speak about how you need to impress on the subconscious mind. But remember that the subconscious mind already has programs in place, living from your past experiences. And what we don't know is that these experiences, so there's parts of our brain called the amygdala, which lives in the limbic system. And to anybody that's listening to this and wants to get to know a lot about themselves and how they work, find out about how your brain works. You'll learn so much about the things that you didn't even know existed and why you do so many things. But there's a part of our brain called the limbic system, and within the limbic system lives a part, a little, I guess I could call it a part of the brain that is called the amygdala. And the amygdala stores or communicates almost, what they call that part of our brain is the reptilian brain, right? And we know the reptilian brain to be what? The fight or flight kind of brain. And what that part of our brain does, it impresses very strong emotions such as anger, fear, fight or flight, and all of that. And what that does, it then speaks to other parts of your brain, which is your pituitary glands, the parts of your brain that releases neurochemicals like cortisol, dopamine, adrenaline, all these parts of ourselves. And what do those things do? They take information from your limbic system saying, we're in danger, fight. So it takes information from your brain down to your body using those neurochemicals like cortisol, oxytocin, all these things, and it communicates to your body. And it says to the body, okay, right now, I am in front of a dog and this dog is barking at me, right? So let's take that as an example to actually express this idea. A dog is in front of you and it's barking, right? And you could see, like your brain says, hey, you're in danger. So the limbic system is already on. The amygdala communicates danger, danger, danger. Then your brain, in a split second, guys, this doesn't happen over like thousands of years. Like it's in a split second. Your brain decides, do I have enough energy to fight this dog? Perhaps in that moment you want to kick it, you want to shoo it away. Or it decides, okay, do I have enough energy to run? So your brain has this conversation. Another option that a lot of people don't talk about is, okay, I don't have energy for either, so I'm just going to collapse. I'm going to play dead. Right? So your brain looks at assesses that entire situation. And then after assessing the situation, let's say your brain decides, I'm going to run. I'm in a dangerous situation. I am going to run. So your brain says to your, the amygdala speaks to the pituitary gland, speaks to your gallbladder, all these other things, and secretes hormones and secretes neurotransmitters, secretes things like what we mentioned already, your oxytocin, cortisol, dopamine, all of that. And then it activates your body. So then your body is like, okay, I've got a lot of dopamine in my system. Now let's increase the heart rate. Why does your heart rate increase? Your heart rate increase, excuse me, because your body is now communicating that we need to pump a lot more blood into the system so we can give a lot more energy to our muscles so that we can run. Why is your heart rate, your lungs, why are you now breathing a lot faster? It's the same. You're trying to get oxygen from into your lungs, into your body much faster so that you can obviously feed it into your muscles so that you can run faster. And it's all these different things. Why do your muscles maybe stiffen? Well, so that you can run faster. Why? There's a lot of things that happen in our body, right, that is communicating this fighting or this running, you're fleeing. And then there you are, you run, poof. Then you finally get out of danger. Then what does your body do? Okay, I'm out of danger, calms itself back down. Now that's your parasympathetic system now activating. It's getting you back to calming down. So here's the thing. these kind of programs existed and are ancient in the sense that when we were still hunter-gatherers, when we were still in the wild, a tiger was a serious and imminent threat. And we needed to find ways to run away, protect ourselves, whatever it is. Now, we don't live in that so much. A tiger is not going to really run after you. But what does this translate into? It translates into different situations and experiences in our lives that communicate danger. And examples of this are probably things that you're not even anticipating. It's a parent who withheld love from you. That causes some form of fight or flight experience. It is a person, a bully, who endangered you in some way that causes the same experience. And now another fascinating thing about your brain and the unconscious or the subconscious is that a lot of the time, cognitive thought takes time. You still need to think about things. It's a much longer process. So your brain, because it's fit for survival and built for survival, and so is your body, it says, okay, the next time I'm in danger, I don't have time to still be thinking about whether or not I need to run. If you're in imminent danger right now and there's something coming to you, you don't think first. Oh, okay, wait, I have to think. Do I run?
It's an automatic reaction.
It's automatic. And what your brain does is that when you are in a similar situation, because it's learning, it's imprinting, it's taking different things from your sensory information, it says, okay, we need to make sure that the next time we're in this type of situation, we know the protocol, which is run, norepinephrine, cortisol, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it takes you all through that, and then it imprints itself in the body so that now you're doing those things unconsciously. It doesn't need thinking.
It's a program, not
right? So when we take it back to now a situation such as, let's say you get humiliated in front of your class because you maybe made a mistake, right? While you're doing a public speaking or speech in class. And then what happens to you? That was an endangering feeling for you, right? Because it's isolation, it's humiliation. That is threatening to the self. That is a threat. So what does the body then do? What does the brain do? It takes whatever reaction that you had there. Maybe you ran off of stage. It takes whatever happened there, and then it turns that into a program, which says, I no longer want to speak out loud. What does that cause? A person that's shy, a person that closes off when it's time to communicate their feelings or communicate their knowledge. It causes imposter syndrome, self-sabotage, all these things. And these are things that when we now come to manifesting our dreams, manifesting our best selves, these are the things we come head to head with. Because, for example, you want to manifest having a good job, or becoming more brave enough to try new things, yet you have a program within you that says when we are exposed to newness, we have to retreat. So you're now sitting, you're thinking, you're giving yourself affirmations, affirming, you're looking yourself in the mirror, I am brave, and your body's like, sure you are. Then you get into the position where you have to be brave, and your body's like, you're not brave. So these states of being, whatever it is that we want to manifest, it has to become an embodiment. You have to embody that state. In that way, it also becomes unconscious. The same way you wrote the program, you can rewrite it. You can tell yourself something different. But what a lot of the time happens is that people think their way out of it. They don't access what's happening in here. You don't access the fact that your body's saying, when I go through that, I run. So now you don't actually have access to that unconscious thing. You don't have access to where the real nook is. To unlevel that, to give yourself grace and to say, hey, I can choose different. And decide to choose different. Most of the time we just throw ourselves with affirmations, throw ourselves into meditations, but it doesn't reach beyond here.
Yeah, which is quite a fascinating point. Wow, you're so knowledgeable.
Thank you.
In a sense of your personality makes your personal reality.
Yes.
And your personality is, of course, a mixture of what you think, and what you do. and what you believe.
And what you believe.
This informs your personality. This is your whole identity. And how you think, what you do, and what you believe essentially manifests your personal reality.
Yes.
So it's important that you mentioned that we have to embody this thing that we want to become. You know, it's not about thinking about it, it's about being.
It's about being it, yeah.
We have to move from thinking
to being.
You know, and I think that's the essence of a human being, to be.
Exactly.
You know, your humanness, you know. So it's quite interesting, like the conversation we had. I'm really inspired. I know the audience in our community, our tribe, really learned a lot. And just to wrap up the episode, like, what are some of the final words of, you know, encouragement, wisdom, knowledge you'd like to share with the audience before we share it?
Stay curious. Stay curious. Stay curious. Stay curious about yourself. Always, forever. Always aim to learn about yourself. Always aim to learn about yourself. Your story, you write it. But you cannot write something that you don't know about. Get to know yourself. Get to know yourself deeply. It's going to hurt. It's going to be painful. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to feel sticky. It's going to feel icky. You're going to feel shame. You're going to feel all the things that you have felt in your past. But do it anyway. Bravely, with love and grace. Hold yourself with love and grace as you begin to inquire. Always find out. There's nothing that's ever final. It's always moving, always changing. The only constant thing is change. Your personal reality, as you said, is made by your personality, your beliefs, your behaviors. And if you want to change that, you got to get to know what is in place of the things that you want. If you want an apple and you know, living pears, find out about the pear. Where does the pear come from? How did I get to be giving up pears when I really want to be apple? You know, and from that learning, from that engaging with the content, you flip it over and you become apples. That's alchemy. That's true change.
The alchemized process. No.
Yes.
I'm going to listen to this podcast probably 8 times. I hope you do too, guys, because there's so much packed into this. Like, I think the knowledge of, you know, neurosciences, you know, how the body works. I think I'm going to invite you again. I think you should actually, no, we'll talk.
Yeah.
But this is the African Inspirational Podcast, and we had here
Tlotliso.
Tlotliso really blessed us with the knowledge, the information. Check her out on all the relevant social media platforms.
Thank you so
Links
much.
in the description. Follow the movement, everything we're doing. This is transforming Africa, and this is making an impact in the community. And this knowledge is what the Black community needs. You know, we need to make knowledge accessible.
Yep.
We're living in 2024. People don't have time to read books. So platforms like this are making knowledge accessible.
Yeah.
So bump this podcast 3 times, 4 times, write notes, and tell me what you think in the comment section. Let's communicate, let's engage, let's build this community, become a part of the movement. And no, so thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. It was such an honor. Thank you so much for listening, everyone.
And that is us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.